What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. It's Mock Draft Monday time, obviously, but a bit of a change this week. I did a mock draft on Sleeper with Sal Vetri. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who he is, but if not, make sure to check him out. I'll link his channel in the description box down below. We did a mock draft together from different spots. So I drafted from either like the third or the fourth pick, but I was early and he was late. He was in the 10th pick. There's a 12-team league. Just wanted to see maybe how we could build different teams from different spots. I think both of our teams turned out really nicely. One thing I'll apologize for is my audio. I had the mic set up, but for some reason I didn't realize it was pulling from the AirPods, and we weren't going to go back and do the whole thing over again. If you really just for some reason can't stand it, at least go and watch the final 10 minutes or so, maybe like 15 minutes, because we had a really good discussion on the optimal strategy for this year. And then, of course, at that point, you can also just see how our teams ended up. But I thought it was a really good video. We talked about why we were taking different players. So I think you guys should like it. Also, before we start, I'm going to talk about this more in tomorrow's video. I'm adding a second giveaway just for this week. So all you got to do, rate and review the podcast on iTunes or Spotify. Link to that is always in the description. I think it's like the first thing. And then just tweet a screenshot at me. It should be somewhere on the screen here. Leave the review, tweet it at me, and then you'll be entered for a giveaway for a free subscription to our site for the whole season. And if you already have one, I'll just like refund your payment and whatever. So let's start this video off with the stat of the day. Then we'll transition into the mock draft. So yesterday's stat was which running back had the most targets inside the 10-yard line. Answer, Alvin Kamara. Freak Your Bowl 7. Got that one first. Today's stat, which tight end has had, of course, last year, the most receptions inside the 20-yard line? Leave your answer to that in the comment section below. And now let's transition into the mock draft.
All right, cool. So the early picks are pretty easy. I mean, you basically take one of the top 5 running backs, just like the top 5 picks. You don't even like consider Michael Thomas would be the only wide receiver, I guess. But I got Zeke at 3. I think it's McCaffrey, Barkley, then Zeke for me. So, I mean, I'm just going to take Zeke. Pretty easy pick there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have Zeke at 3 as well. I mean, I've seen people putting Kamara at 3. I see the reason for putting him there. I just don't completely agree with it. You need everything to go right, in my opinion, for Kamara to be there, whereas you would need a lot to go wrong for Zeke just to finish like outside the top 5. Zeke's fallen a good amount, though, lately. But let me see what's on the clock right now. So we had a bunch of running backs, like always 6, 7 running backs already gone.
Yeah,
let me see who's still – yeah, Josh Jacobs went really early in this. That's crazy. So I always end up getting to this point. So do you want to record like right now, or are we going to like review it at the end?
I mean, it's just going to record the entire time, basically. We can go over everything afterwards, but I guess just like talk through each pick, really, like what we're thinking.
Sounds good, yeah. So I always get to this spot in these drafts, and if I'm like picking between 6th and honestly, I guess 10th for this draft, I always just end up with so much Joe Mixon. Like right now, if it's best balls or whatever. So I'm going to take Joe Mixon here at the 10th overall pick. I have him as my 6th ranked running back, so it's just hard to pass up him at the 10th overall spot there.
Yeah, and grabbing a running back in the first round, just every time we've looked back and like tried to determine if we should have gone wide receiver, it's just always smart to just take the running back.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then this year, especially how quickly they die out. I do think that there are some really good, depending on how big your draft is, 10 to 12 teams. There's some pretty good 3rd, 4th round running backs. But I'm on the clock again here at the 2-3. And yeah, I mean, right now, what I've mainly been doing in most drafts is just snagging back-to-back running backs. So I got Mixon in the first round, and there's still a ton left. Just trying to X off these players. My best available is Miles Sanders. And I think it's just going to be easy. I'm going to go ahead and take Miles Sanders over Aaron Jones, Eckler, some of those guys, and start off with back-to-back running backs.
Yeah, that's probably the exact same thing I would have started off with too. Okay, so we do see 2 quarterbacks in the 2nd round, which I don't think always happens. Sometimes they go into the 3rd, and then Travis Kelce was the only tight end taken so far. I'm not going to take the quarterback with this pick, and then you'd only consider Kittle, but I'm not taking Kittle. So it'll only be running back or wide receiver. For running backs, it'd be like Eckler, Aaron Jones, and Drake. Probably the only ones I'd be looking at. And then Galladay and Cooper are like the top tier wide receivers I'd be looking at. But I usually get to this range and like I say Cooper and Galladay are kind of a tier ahead maybe of like Thielen, Kupp, Brown, Ridley, but like pretty sure one of them is still going to be left at my 3. And I don't want to take 2 wide receivers here. So I might take Drake, to be honest. I know he might be there though at the next pick, but I have Drake ahead of all these running backs. And starting off with Zeke and Drake, I think would be a really nice start. So I think I'm going to do that, even though it's a reach here, but I don't think it's a reach on other sites right now.
Yeah, I actually like it. Like getting to Kenyon Drake in the mid to late second, for me, like that would be really optimal, especially with Zeke. Like there's the downsides of Edmonds being there. He doesn't see 3 downs, but like I think there's the upsides for Kenyon Drake to touch the ball 300 to 350 times with his passing game involvement. So I had Eckler higher than Drake, but like by the time the season comes, I think I'm going to end up pushing Drake higher. Everything that just keeps coming out about Eckler, and the more I look into him, it's like last season was the perfect year for him, and I actually think if anything, it might get worse now.
Yeah, well, in his quarterback situation, like we don't know. Maybe whoever ends up being the quarterback for like more time. I don't really know when they're going to like do the split, but we don't know exactly how much they're going to target running backs. Like Rivers just loves doing it, so there's a little bit more risk with him. Whereas Drake, whoever the lead back is there, I know is going to be good. So probably not going to take a running back with this one. I would consider Clyde would be like the one running back I would take here, and I might consider doing that. But it would be nice to grab one of these wide receivers because like Thielen, Kupp, Brown, Ridley are not going to be available, and Allen Robinson actually could be left. That's tough. I do want one good wide receiver. I could risk it and hope that Allen Robinson's there, but that's what, like 20 picks before my next one. That's possible he's not going to be there, but it feels like a reach. No, I'm doing it. I'm going Clyde with this pick. All my picks look like reaches, but like the upside of having Zeke, Drake, Clyde is like the lead back on like really good offenses.
Yeah, I mean, I like that a lot. Like I think ideally 3 out of your first 4 picks should be running backs the way that it's setting up. And honestly, like 4 out of your first 5 if you really want to, because then you could pick 4 guys in a redraft. Yeah, and you could just be done. So I'm looking at the clock now. You were talking about Allen Robinson a lot, and I was clenching over here because I've got him as my best wide receiver left. So I'm considering it. I think, right here's another wide receiver running back pick. But just based on all the running backs that just went off the board, Bell's gone. I believe Carson, Gurley. The best thing that I have left, I think Todd Gurley might still be. Todd Gurley's still out here. So that's like the best available that we're looking at the running back position. It's interesting to start with a Mixon, Sanders, and Gurley build. Wide receiver range, though, don't have anybody yet, but I got a quick pick here after that, and there's still a lot of good wide receivers left on the board, whether you're looking at DJ Moore, Odell, Allen Robinson. I think I'm going to start similar to what you just did. I think I'm going to start here with 3 running backs to start this one off, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Todd Gurley over the likes of Melvin Gordon, Montgomery, Singletary here. So I have him ranked the highest left at running back, so I'll start 3 running backs as well.
Yeah, and you can still get Robinson with this next pick if you want him.
That's just crazy. Yeah, so this is So the turn goes around, 2 wide receivers go. Ridley I was actually looking at, but as a wide receiver 1, definitely want Robinson here. So it just makes it easy. Like I think, there's really nothing else that I would really consider. Maybe Odell at that point. He's in these rankings pretty far down, but Robinson I have 2 spots ahead. So I'll take Robinson. I like to start 3 running backs and a receiver.
Yeah, I think going running back at that 3rd spot there was smart because even if Robinson got taken, I would have been fine with that next pick taking Ridley or Brown. And the odds that all of those guys got taken were pretty low, I think, at least. So you were pretty much guaranteed to get one of those 3. So why not take the running back that you like and then just grab the one that's left?
Yeah, and then like the other thing that I probably don't do a good job right now in mock drafts, but as the season gets closer, like the guy after me took back-to-back receivers. So the odds that he was taking 2 receivers, definitely not, but even 1 was probably unlikely, and then he ended up going back-to-back running backs.
Right. Yeah, he definitely was not taking 2.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to take a wide receiver with at least one of these next picks. For me, it's like Juju and Odell and DJ Moore. So Juju, Odell, and DJ Moore. I feel like one of them will be available at the next pick. I don't love going 4 running backs to start, but if you do that, then you can just abandon the position until like, I don't know, round 12 and just grab like a handcuff, maybe. Like I could just grab like Tony Pollard and like I could grab Tony Pollard and Edmonds after that and just basically lock in running back for the whole season. And I do like Montgomery. I think he's locked into a ton of touches, but I also like Jonathan Taylor. That's a problem. We have 30 seconds to make this decision. No tight ends. I grab Kyler, but I don't want to. I think one of the wide receivers will be there.
Crunch time, baby.
Yeah, I know. This is tough. I'm down to Juju or running back. I'm going to do Juju. I'll take him there.
That's fair.
I'm pretty sure at least one of these running backs will still be there. So Montgomery does go. Odell goes. But yeah, I still have a running back. Okay.
Oh,
So
you got a good spot here.
So I can take Jonathan Taylor with this pick. Or I could do Kareem Hunt. I really do like Kareem Hunt this year, just not ahead of Jonathan Taylor. I could grab DJ Moore. I would have definitely considered Odell though. If I could pair Juju and Odell with the running backs I had, I would have loved that.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to just take Taylor and I'm good at running back now, and then I'm just gonna like load up on wide receiver with the next like 4 or 5 picks, unless there's like a value somewhere else.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the 4 running backs in your first 5 picks, if it lands that way with like Montgomery and Jonathan Taylor in the 5th round, like that's fantastic. Like doing drafts right now, I think you can get him there in the 4th round. I'll be interested to see where he goes, but that's a great pick. Like that's a good start. I like both the rookies too for the upsides after you get like the stable backs. But 6 receivers going in a row. DJ Moore stayed on the board in the 5th round. Like this is David Montgomery's gone.
I think he's my last top tier. Like there's a huge drop off for me after DJ Moore right now.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Like I actually have Robert Woods really high. I have Robert Woods as my 12th receiver, but he went. So there's a huge drop off to like, I think it's like 13 spots after DJ Moore. So I guess these people just don't want DJ Moore, but I'll go ahead and I'll snatch him. The draft, like right now, it's just coming sort of easy for me the way that Allen Robinson and DJ Moore kind of fall, but getting 3 receivers or getting 2 receivers after 3 running backs, probably going to try and go back to running back before it just becomes an absolute wasteland. And it already almost is. Kareem Hunt, Geis, the only really notables. I think Cam Akers is still there.
Your next picks, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, it's just a weird spot. Like if this was a dynasty draft, I would be trying to trade back out of the situation because, I mean, you get a couple quarterbacks to go off the board. I mean, Kyler went, you get Watson and Wilson on that turn. Raheem Mostert, who I didn't really want. Tight end, I still don't want. So I'm still looking running back, wide receiver. And yeah, at this point, you're in sort of that wasteland of this in-between tier at wide receiver where some of the guys look okay. None of them look fantastic. Exact same thing with running back. But after this next pick for me, running back becomes the wastelands of all the RBBCs and maybe some unproven rookies. So looking at Cam Akers, Geis, Hunt. Akers, I like the upside in volume, but I'm just concerned about the offensive line in general. Hunt, honestly, I think Hunt has the ability to just rival as a top 15 back, very close to Nick Chubb if he can catch anywhere near what he was on pace for last year. So I'm looking at Hunt. Geis I like, but those knees are shot. They scare me. I'm going to go Kareem Hunt here with my 4th running back pick to start we're now in the 6th round.
Yeah, I think that's the correct pick. I'm just like all over Hunt this year because it feels like worst case scenario, he's going to return value. But like he's one of those players that if Chubb ever did get hurt, I mean, he's top 5, right? I mean, every single week he'll be a top 5 running back. And you can't really say that about anyone in this range. And it's not like you're sacrificing because he's going to have a ton of receptions and he's still going to score. So I like that pick.
Yeah, and I think the thing that stands out too is just like you said, he's the very rare handcuff, if you will, that like in given weeks he can still be an RB1.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. So I was just taking a gander at running back, but there's no one that stands out that I'm going to take. So I'm definitely taking a different position, nothing at tight end. And then I would have considered Dak at this pick, but he got taken in like the early to mid sixth. So basically have to go with wide receiver here. I like Parker. That's actually probably the only person. I guess Landry would be like a safe pick. We know what we're going to get with Landry. There's not too many unknowns. Marquise Brown's a really good player. Gallup was really good last year, and there's so many targets available. I prefer Lamb if you can get him really late. But Gallup's an option, but for me, Parker is like, he's just like the guy there. I know Williams, I like late as well, but I mean, they can both be good. It's not like he has any competition. They didn't draft anyone except like a 7th round pick or something. So he's like locked into his role. So I'm cool with that. And they're improved, but they're still going to be losing games. So they're going to need to throw late.
Yeah. And like, I'm a huge Preston Williams, beginning of last year. This is why I just like feel strongly about him. Like I like him a lot in the preseason. He had like an insane catch, but he was balling out the first 8 weeks. But yeah, I mean, it's even myself, like you have to really weigh a wide receiver off of a rookie nonetheless, off of a midseason ACL tear. It's risky. Like there's a good chance they don't come back the same person, or at least not right away getting their feet back under them. So yeah, I think Parker's dropping for a lot of people, but I mean, 6th round pick for Deante Parker, end of the 6th round, is a lot of upside there.
Yeah. I mean, he was incredible. Like if you look at his stats to end last season, he was awesome. And yeah, we think Preston Williams was good. He was good, but I think it was like November he tore his ACL, and you just don't know sometimes. Sometimes it takes a year to come back. I mean, hopefully he comes back good, but we don't really know. I was considering Gallup with that last pick, and he didn't go. So I think for me, the pick here is Gallup. I don't remember where he ranked in yards per game, but I'm pretty sure it was like top 10. I don't want to be quoted on that, but he was really high in yards per game last season. I know they bring in Lamb, but they also lost like 190 targets. And the offense is going to be insane. So the touchdowns are going to be there. Like, I just think if you just get this team, I don't even care that I took Zeke. Like, I just want players on this offense.
Yeah, I like it. I like Gallup. I think that, honestly, I think that all these guys can survive out there. If anything, you might, the argument might be that Amari, he was super efficient last year. He just sees the drop because Cobb was, as much as people want to knock on Randall Cobb turning 30 years old, he had 800 yards. He was a top 20 efficiency wide receiver in the entire league last year, had 7 drops out of the slot. But now you're going to put a guy in a CeeDee Lamb in there. Yeah, maybe he does a little bit better, but I'm not going to project him for 1,000 yards. So yeah, I don't think there's much to take away from Gallup, but he's just complete. I think he's going to keep falling too, as people just like to continue to take CeeDee Lamb as the summer goes on. But I got 4 receivers, or I got 4 running backs. I got 2 wide receivers here. So I'm looking for wide receiver. I'm looking right now at the guys who just went off the board. Brandon Cooks was up there for me. Gallup was up there as well. So right now my best availables are just guys that I really don't like taking, like Julian Edelman, maybe a safe floor there, maybe a little bit undervalued right now, just all the hate on the Patriots offense. Deebo Samuel's still there. I really don't have many shares of him. Under a minute left. Cam Akers, is he still on the board? Oh, man. They might make me take I can't take a 5th running back. I need receivers. So I'm looking Deante Johnson, 7th round. He's just getting so overtaken at this point, even though I like the guy. But I might try and get him at my next pick. 30 seconds left. Deebo and Julian Edelman are left. I think I might go for – so I got Edelman on the board. I think I'm going to go to Edelman here, end of the 7th round as my 3rd receiver. I never really like taking him because there's not much upside, but that spot right there, just a bunch of guys that don't have a ton of upside. And Akers goes in the turn. He would have been a guy I thought about taking here in the 8th round. So let's see. A couple running backs go. Don't really need those. So, yeah, I think this is the time when I'm actually fine reaching on to take Akers off, take Edelman off. I'm probably going to take Deante Johnson here. And as I say that, I'll be completely – so I'll take Deante Johnson as my 4th receiver. I think that he was fantastic value in the 10th and 11th round. And now I see him going in the 6th and 7th round, Deante, that is. And if I get him in the 8th or 9th, right now I feel okay taking him, but he's starting to get really overrated or overdrafted.
You always see those players that, if everyone loves a player in April, you can almost guarantee that he's not going to be a value come August.
Yeah.
Because exactly. no one has said anything bad about him because there's really nothing there to point out that's why we shouldn't be drafting him. And so he's just going to keep climbing. He could go into the 6th and 7th round. And at that point, it's going to be I don't know, like you're in the same range of like Parker and McLaurin, and like, no, I'm not doing that, especially with
Yeah.
Juju coming back.
Yeah, he's being drafted. Like I think he'll be soon drafted at his ceiling, and then all the value is
Yeah.
just gone.
Yeah. Then you need him to be what we think the ceiling is.
Yeah.
So I know I said I was going to hammer out wide receiver. I did a decent job at getting Juju, Parker, Gallup. I do need more, but I don't have to take one with this pick because I don't even know who I would take. Like I can't take Lamb, actually. That's usually my pick, but like I'm cool getting like Crowder, I guess Kirk, like not with this pick. I'm not going to take Crowder. I don't know. There's like just some names like Pittman, Miller that I kind of like later, but I'm not just going to consider them here. So I guess I might just take Dobbins, which feels kind of like a reach. I could go with the quarterback and take Josh Allen. He's like my last tier 1 quarterback, I think. And I never take tight ends early. I just don't consider it. So I'm going to go with Dobbins and just grab all the rookie running backs, I guess. But it's just the upside again. Like if Ingram were to ever get hurt, he's like a top 10, I guess we'll say. But even if he doesn't, he's going to get volume, and he's my running back 5. So it's fine if I just let him sit on my bench for practically the whole season, because I feel pretty good about my top 4. And now I'm at the point where I just don't need to touch running back at all. And all the wide receivers I was kind of considering are still on the board. And since I don't know again, I'm probably not even going to touch wide receiver again. Allen and Ryan go. I don't think I'm going to take a quarterback. So I'm looking tight end here. I usually wait more, but I don't think there's a point in waiting at this point. I would just be reaching on a wide receiver and then hoping that a tight end falls. So I might as well just take the tight end I like the most. I think that's Higbee right now. I don't know 100% what they're going to do on offense, but I have to think that they're going to use Higbee a lot with Everett. I have to think they're going to run a lot of just 2 wide receiver sets with Higbee and Everett on the field at the same time. And if that's the case, like Higbee's a really good value in the 9th round. So.
Yeah, I think that was the pick there. Like I was looking at the board too in terms of maybe going like now starting to go to tight end, even though it's the 9th round, end of the 9th round. So I think it's about that time. 10th round is usually where I'll start to target them. But yeah, I think Higbee was the pick there. I'm looking at it right now. Receivers, there's guys like McCole Hardman. There's guys like just John Browns, and then some of the rookies start to pop up on the board. So not really looking too much at any of them. Crowder's still on the board, who's interesting. I got 4 receivers. I got 4 running backs, so it does seem like the time here on this turn to go. Quarterback started coming off the board too, so start to go tight end and then maybe run it back with a quarterback with these 2 picks, and then just finish up the draft with a bunch of receivers and running backs. So looking at tight end, there's a decent amount of names left that I might be able to pull one off at the 10th round turn here, but the difference there is just quarterback for me. So I think I'm going to go to quarterback tight end here. I look at these names, and Hayden Hurst stands out the most. Another guy like similar to Deante Johnson that only people are saying positive things, which does worry me. Getting him at the 9th round, end of the 9th round, 10th round turn, don't hate it. Other names on the board are Jared Cook, Gesicki. So I think I'm going to go Hayden Hurst here, just bank on that passing game upside, bank on his college profile a little bit. He'll be my 9th round pick.
Yeah, they throw the ball like every play. So he should just step into all those targets basically.
You know what's crazy is like I watch so many Falcons games because like playing DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports, they're just always like a great team to own. And Julio Jones, he'll have like 50 yards the first 3 quarters. The 4th quarter, they're trailing whatever it is, he'll pick up like 70 yards in the quarter, and then he just finishes with a monster game. It's just like clockwork for the guy. Yeah,
that offense is just crazy sometimes.
Right. Yeah. So Hardman goes up the board. I was looking at him. Crowder's still there, and he's just like, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get like 900 yards and like 6 touchdowns. And I mean, it's good for the 10th round right now, but there's like upside guys later on. I want to make sure I don't miss out on quarterback because by the time my 11th pick comes around, end of the 11th, a lot of these guys might be gone. So I'm looking at what's on the board right now at quarterback. There are good names left. Like, I mean, Tom Brady's still there. I have him he's neck and neck right now, Brady and Stafford as my 2 best available quarterbacks, Daniel Jones. Will one of these guys fall? I mean, not think so. So
I'm not sure I would risk it at that point.
Yeah, right. This is like, because then your whole draft is just really messed up if I'm relying on Kirk Cousins or somebody. So I'm looking at it right now. I got Brady one spot ahead of Stafford in my rankings, but man, I just like Stafford so much. I'm going to go with
Mhm.
Stafford here. Maybe that says I should change my rankings a little bit, but I like both guys. I just feel Stafford, even coming off the injury, I might be a little bit more secure there. I guess it's really a toss up. That's a tough decision for me between Brady and Stafford.
I think I have Stafford ahead of him, like barely. I love Stafford this year.
Yeah, same. I think he's my most owned player in like any drafts I've done.
So I think I'm gonna go with quarterback as well because like if some of these guys start going, like I don't want to be starting. I would be fine starting with Joe Burrow if we're being completely honest, but I would
Yeah, I like that.
prefer not to be put in that situation. Um, Basically, the only guys I would draft at this point are Daniel Jones. I mean, I don't even love Goff because of no rushing, but Drew Lock, Rivers, and Burrow are the only players that I would consider. And I like Daniel Jones because I think he was a lot better than we thought he would be, and he's got weapons all around him. He showed a pretty high ceiling. Like he had like some monster games last year. And
Yeah.
if the pick doesn't work out, there are always quarterbacks I can stream. I just think that like his upside is much greater than like you said, like Cousins. Like, I mean, what am I really going to get every week from Cousins? There's no real upside there, especially with Diggs gone. So I just don't see the upside with many of these picks besides probably Drew Lock was the only other one. But I think you got to have some of that rushing upside as well. And I think Jones has a lot of it. Um, how many picks do I have left? That's one thing. So I have 4 picks. The last one will be defense. I've taken quarterback and tight end. So I have 3 bench spots. One, probably easier to look this way. I have 5 running backs and 3 wide receivers. So I should take at least 2 wide receivers coming up here. Um, yeah, Crowder's still on the board. He's a guy we've brought up a few times. I'm not going to take Preston Williams and Parker. That's not something you should do. But it would be Crowder, Anthony Miller, Pittman, the exact same names I said like 3 rounds ago, which
Yeah,
was
that's the
why
thing.
that's why I went Higbee because like usually you wait, but now I wouldn't have gotten Higbee at this pick, and I'm still with these exact same players. So I'm going to take Crowder, and then I'll just hope that one of those guys I just mentioned before is there at my next pick.
Yeah, he dropped crazy. I mean, there's a whole run of wide receivers that just went off the board. Wow. But
Yeah.
he just dropped in a crazy way. Like if you get Crowder in like the 9th round, like I think that's a steal. You just got him in the 11th. So
Yeah.
it's just not a sexy pick, but he provides a lot of stability and he's used a ton. He had like close to a 30% red zone share last year. It's just nuts. All right. Let's see what we got on the board here. I only got 4 receivers with like I think 4 rounds left. So I'm going to load up on like 2 to 3 receivers, honestly, because there's still a lot of good names left on the board. The way that I'm looking at it right now is that my best availables at receiver are Preston Williams, Anthony Miller. Based on the receivers that I have right now, Deante Johnson, those types of names, I think I'm going to go to Anthony Miller here. It's a pretty decent drop off then to some of the rookies that are left. So I think he's still on the board. He is. So I'm going to go to Anthony Miller over Preston Williams. And if the clock comes back around or the turn comes back around, I'd probably take Preston Williams if he stays. And he goes.
There he goes.
You got to think
the
now.
only
That's good
receiver.
Yeah, the only receiver taken. A bunch of defenses taken. Jared Goff, a troll game there by the only receiver left. But yeah, I guess now we got to think a little bit more, which is good. So I still need receivers because I got 5 running backs. At this point, the receivers are so much more talented. The depth there matters a lot more because just my running back depth is pretty stable. I think I'm going to go ahead. There's 2 guys left, but I think a couple of guys. I like N'Keal Harry. He's there. I think I might be able to get him later on. He's right next to Jefferson in these rankings. I like both of those guys. So at this point in the draft where I think I have some stability with Edelman, DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, it's almost a bank on upside over maybe floor. So I'm going to go N'Keal Harry here over Jefferson. And it's crazy to think a rookie can have a floor, but just going into that offense, I think he's going to see at least a target floor from Minnesota and Justin Jefferson. So I'll take the upside in these later rounds with N'Keal Harry, potentially former first-round pick, and honestly maybe put up some top 25 receiver numbers if Stidham is anything better than what everybody thinks he is like the worst quarterback in the league.
Yeah, as a Patriots fan, it was depressing to watch N'Keal Harry last season because he was just so bad. I mean, even when he got onto the field, he was just so bad. But I mean, they clearly thought he was a great receiver. They clearly are invested in him. And Stidham, people will trash him, but he was a talented quarterback prospect. So the Patriots, I don't know. It seems like they're all in with him. They didn't feel like going after Winston. They don't feel like going after Newton. So clearly they like him. I mean, they wouldn't just they're not tanking. So maybe there's something there with Harry. So I'm cool with taking the upside there. Because like you said, you don't really want to floor at these picks. I feel like I'm Mr. Rookie or something, but I'm looking at Pittman and Rager with these picks and Jefferson, honestly, because I mean, I expect not to get the exact same amount of targets as Diggs gets, but pretty close, right? Because he's just going to step into that exact role. Maybe he doesn't command as many because he's obviously not as good as Diggs is. At this point, maybe he will be at some point.
Yeah.
I think it would come down to Pittman or Jefferson, and for me, I like Pittman a lot because he's pretty much guaranteed to just be the outside receiver and probably the top red zone receiver on the offense. So I don't really see a case for him not just playing all of the passing snaps right out of the gate. I don't know why they would not do that, and they clearly love him. So I'm not worried about him at all.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I think Pittman might be a guy who rises, but since he's a rookie, he would have been a first rounder in any other draft. He's just an absolute freak out there. He's like the most elusive wide receiver. It's almost like a running back. He's just insane. And I think, they want to already make him the X receiver, Vincent Jackson-esque with Phillip Rivers coming in there. So I think he can honestly threaten as a top 30, top 25 wide receiver, even better if he can put up just any sort of numbers, get sort of relevant a little bit with Rivers right away.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are going to be concerned about rookie receivers this year because of limited camp and everything. But the only receiver you could argue against that is Pittman because no one's played with Rivers yet, right?
Yeah.
The whole team is under that circumstance. So everyone needs to develop that chemistry. So he's not at a disadvantage because everyone has to do it. So am I cool with my receivers? So Juju, Parker, Gallup, Crowder, Pittman. I would like one more. Basically, it's either I take another upside receiver or I handcuff with Edmonds here. And running back is important, but since I have so many, I kind of don't want to grab the handcuff. I want to just take another shot at wide receiver. I'll just take another shot. I'll take my ninth rookie, and we'll just take the targets with Jefferson. But it was basically you take Jefferson there, and I give myself another chance at receiver since I went away from that, or I take Edmonds and I lock in my running backs. But I feel like even if something happened to Drake, I feel good enough about Clyde and Taylor to where I would be fine, and I want to take that shot with wide receiver.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think that was the pick too. You just had two really good rookies on the board. You obviously like Michael Pittman more than just these rankings on Sleeper doing, and I do as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at it. I got 6 receivers. I only got, wait. This can't be right. Yeah, okay. My flex is counting as my running back because I got 4 running backs instead of 3. So 1 quarterback, 1 tight end. I think I'm fine just a 14-round draft to leave this draft with just 1 quarterback and a running back. You're going to, if this was just not a mock, you're going to have so many opportunities at waivers. The tight ends left. Nothing that's crazy. I do like Chris Herndon. I like some of these guys, but odds are they're on the waivers. So with 2 rounds left, 6 receivers, 4 running backs. Honestly, I think I'm okay getting to a 7th receiver here. We have to technically take a defense, but we can just pick that up later. So let's see. Wide receivers left. There's guys left like Alan Lazard, Rager. These guys do stand out. I'm going to take a little bit of a stab on a guy who after week 1 might be a top waiver priority for people. I'm going to go Denzel Mims here, another rookie. 13th round. Probably could have got him in the 14th round where my pick is right now, honestly. But I'm going to go Denzel Mims. I think he could be the number 1 receiver right away. Perriman's his only threat, a guy who took 4.5, 5 years to break out and injuries to Godwin and Evans with the number 1 passing offense last year to just have a decent month of his career. So, Mims just stood out a ton in terms of all the rookie stuff in the combine and in the Pro Bowl or the Senior Bowl, all that type of stuff. So I'll take a little bit of a shot on him there. Lazard I was looking at, but I'm full done receivers now. I got 7. Looking at it now, I guess we have to take defenses, but if I wasn't to take a defense, just to kind of pick one, since it is a mock draft, other guys left on the board right now. Receiver, I'm full on. This is a spot where you can go back up tight end if you feel strong about a guy, in my opinion, the last pick. I am full at receiver. There's a guy that I wanted, but I want to take Antonio Brown, but I don't want 8 receivers now. Just because if that guy signs with Seattle, if he signs with the Packers, I don't think it's going to happen. But if he does, he becomes a 14th round pick that you got, and he should be a guy that goes in like the first 4 to 5 rounds. So,
and if you were drafting right now, that would be a pick, because like, why are you taking a defense in June, right? Like
exactly.
you take Antonio Brown and you just wait.
Exactly. Like this last round pick, I'm going to end up choosing, I got like 40 seconds. I'm just going to end up taking another running back here. I'll take Antonio Gibson, another rookie, just to fill out a running back spot. I didn't end up taking a defense, just mock draft. Honestly, even in a real draft at this early, I wouldn't even take a defense. I would just hold and wait what happens, like you said, even with AB.
I was really hoping Zach Moss would be on the board at my pick, but of course he goes one before.
Saw that.
He's like my favorite late round pick right now. I'd consider him I think he should be going like the 10th, probably the 10th round, because like he's going to have value regardless, and probably all of the goal line work right out of the gates. And another guy, something happens to Singletary, immediately going to be like everyone's waiver wire pickup. And I don't even think he should be on the waiver wire. So I like him. Honestly, the only other running backs I'd look at, if I had Miles Sanders, I would consider Boston Scott. McFarland, I like. And Joshua Kelly for that upside. So I'd consider McFarland. Are there any wide receivers? I mean, I could take another rookie receiver in Rager. Who are some non-rookies I like? Cobb. People don't like Cobb, but he's going to be the slot receiver for Houston. I don't think they're going to run Fuller, Cooks, and Stills. I don't think they'd use all of them at the same time. It wouldn't make much sense. So I think Cobb's going to be in 3 receiver sets. Renfro is another name. I think people are forgetting about how good he was. He's already established in that team. Steven Sims is like a super deep sleeper if you wanted to take that. I'll take Cobb here. No.
I like that pick.
Either Cobb or McFarland. I don't even care which one you would take. I'll take McFarland or Cobb. Who cares which one you take? But that's what I'd be looking at.
I was actually going to say, at my Antonio Gibson pick, I saw I was running out of time, and I saw him on the clock last round. I actually like McFarland better. Like, if I looked at it a little bit more, I probably would have taken him there. But I completely agree on Cobb. Like, I don't know if I'm biased because I'm a former Packer fan, but if he – a former Packer fan. I am a Packer fan. He's a former Packer. If he did not fill the place of – he didn't fill it. He's a slot receiver. But, like, if he didn't come in and people associated him with filling the place of DeAndre Hopkins, and instead people were just like, this guy's going to get more work than Kenny Stills now, or whatever it is, they would have been like, oh, well, this guy was highly efficient last year in an offense, and now he's going into this offense where there's injured bodies and Brandon Cooks and Fuller. Like, this looks good. But the narrative is completely flipped because it's all of a sudden he's just somehow the replacement for DeAndre Hopkins.
I think it's because people know that, like, it's just such a dumb move that people are like, oh, I hate that team. Yeah. Even though, like, they just lost Hopkins. Like, you need to like this team because, like, the targets are all available now. And plus having, like you said, he's behind Cooks and Fuller, who just, I mean, they could both get hurt for, like, stretches, and Cobb would just be the guy getting, like, 12 targets a game.
Yeah, exactly. And he was good last year. They just gave him, I think, $17 million guaranteed. Like, he's not just sitting on the bench with that money.
Yeah, it's like a $27 million contract for 3 years. Like, they're not benching him. Like, they're clearly going to use him.
Yeah, no, not at all. I think that's a good pick late. And I think another thing, like, for people that are still watching, just these types of mocks, like, just the 14 rounds, I do the same exact thing just for the review of the video. It goes just quicker, it's easier, it's more concise. But, like, if you can if you're the commissioner or vote on it, like, get 20 rounds, just get a ton of rounds, because at this point, if you're watching a video right now, you are into this, you're into it early, you just benefit so much more from not leaving guys like, I don't know, like Hunter Renfrow, like you were saying, like a Cobb, like a Anthony McFarland on the waivers, if you can just hoard them all.
No, I tried to get – so my league only has 5 bench spots, and we used to be in standard. So I finally got them to switch to half PPR, and I'm trying to get them to get more bench spots. But if you're ever in that decision, it is always beneficial if you're preparing for a draft, you know what you're doing, to have as many bench spots as possible, because you're going to be in leagues where people get in the 10th round and they have no idea who they're taking. And if you can get to like 17, 18 total picks, so like getting into like 7, 8, 9 bench spots, like it's always going to benefit you, because there are always names at the end of these drafts where like, I want like 5 more of these players, and they're on free agency and those other people don't know about them. So it's always beneficial to add more bench spots.
100%. Just like an example, we moved from 6 to 8 bench spots last year in my main league, like my home league. And I think, I don't know, it's so far down this chain at that point, but like guys like Deebo Samuel are like my 7th bench spot player. And it's just, I hold on to them for like 6, 7 weeks. You know, they're a rookie. You don't really care too much. And then they have good weeks down the stretch. You can do that with so many players. And honestly, if it doesn't work out, then there's just so much, there's no downside to it at that point. You're not relying on them.
And then when you have 5 bench spots, maybe you have like a handcuff with one of them. Maybe you have a few guys you like, and then you get like these AJ Browns on waivers, and you don't know what to do because you only have 5 bench spots, and it's like you only have maybe one guy that you can even drop. Whereas you can get like 9, there's always like 2 or 3 dudes, and you're like, okay, I'll drop him for AJ Brown.
Yeah, it's so like if you play for money right now, like, and you're watching this, like text your league and say like, let's do a vote, because your upside goes through the roof. Like just think about Antonio Brown. Like it's weird to want to pick a guy like that if you only have 5 bench spots. It's almost like a waste, but just hoard him there. You're not going to use whoever you're going to pick with your last pick anyways. You can take 2 as a 3rd quarterback, just shooting for upside. You could just load up the upside on your bench with, sure, these 5 guys individually, none of them might work out, but as a group, if you get one of them to pop off, you just have so much better chance of winning your league.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess we should just run through the team once over here, just so people can have a recap. So I'll do general strategy. This is how I typically build a team. I went 4 running backs in the first 5 picks. So I got Zeke, Drake, Clyde, and Taylor with Juju, the only receiver. Then I started attacking receiver a little bit more in the next 2 rounds, got Parker and Gallup. Went back to running back just to basically finish off the guys I feel good about with Dobbins, because I thought that was kind of the end of a tier. After that, didn't see a reason to take running back or wide receiver because there was a bunch of guys I liked, but they were going kind of late. So just picked up tight end and quarterback with Higbee and Daniel Jones, grabbed a bunch of wide receivers late that I liked, Crowder, Pittman, Jefferson, and then the upside pick of McFarland at the last pick. So I think that's like a good strategy to building out a draft. So I don't know. I like my team a lot.
Yeah, I think the way that – so we have like very similar strategies in terms of like getting 4 running backs in your first 5 picks, I think is the ideal way. So I went 3 running backs in a row. I would have gone with a 5th running back, but DJ Moore just fell so far. So it was just an easy pick at that point. And the guy that I would have went with, Kareem Hunt, falls. So it was just beneficial. But yeah, I think that when you do that, you get those 4 or even 3 running backs with your first 4, but 4 running backs in your first 5 or 6 picks. You don't have to touch the position until, like you said, you shoot for some of those upside rookies, some maybe second-year guys, whatever it might be, maybe the high-end upsides like Latavius Murray, Kareem Hunt's later on. But those are the types of things you don't have to worry about. You just load up on receivers at that point, get a quarterback tight end whenever later in those rounds. I think, we took our tight ends and quarterbacks the exact same rounds, 9th and 10th. So I feel good about the draft. 3 running backs in a row. I don't love Todd Gurley. The opportunity's there. We'll see if he has anything left. I think he'll have all the opportunity to, but at that point was fine getting another running back, another workhorse style guy. Get Allen Robinson, DJ Moore. I feel really good about both of them as potential wide receiver 1s at the end of the year. So that felt good. And then I sort of get these Kareem Hunt and Julian Edelman picks where they have upside. And right now I think they're both being drafted at maybe Kareem Hunt will rise a little bit, but Edelman definitely being drafted at like a floor. Like this is a guy last year was like top 5 in the league in targets, and sure, Brady's not there, but if Stidham is not the worst quarterback in the league and he's the 20th ranked quarterback at the end of the year, Edelman's going to be a guy who should have been taken in like the 4th or 5th round and not the 7th round where he's going consistently. So yeah, I like it. The later round wide receivers shooting for upside with guys like N'Keal Harry, Denzel Mims. I think that's exactly really like after you get your really 6th, 7th round pick, I think shooting for upside and the rest of your picks, depending on how deep your league is probably the best way to go.
Yeah. And even like I'm looking at some of these other teams. I know these aren't humans. Like they're just computers. So it's not going to end up happening this way. But we loaded up on running backs early, and we're still pretty cool with the wide receivers we got. There are some teams like we'll say team 12. They have Julio, Brown, and Ridley. That's a really good core wide receiver. But they're not that deep at receiver. They only have Hardman and Preston Williams after. And their running backs, while they have Chubb, after Chubb, they have Mostert, Akers, Duke Johnson. And like, if something happened to Chubb, they just lose. They just lost the league because they have nothing really secure behind that. And like Team 6 has Chris Carson,
my
Damian
man
Williams,
Team
and
6
nothing.
is
Like
my man Team 6 was drinking a little too much during this draft.
Like I know he's got like a nice receiver core, but it's not even that much better than what we have. And he only has Carson, Damian Williams, and Adrian Peterson. So it's like, I get it if you want to load up on some of these values at wide receiver, but they're still there in the middle rounds. The gap's not that big, but the gap is huge at running back.
Yeah, and like the exact same thing you were saying. I don't like the strategy of the other guy next to you at 5 running backs in a row, but his receivers are Landry, Will Fuller, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Williams. Those aren't great receivers. Like the first couple are pretty good. I would like Landry, I would like Fuller, but that's such a better team when you load up your running backs than the guy who's having to roll out there in a flex one week, or if anybody gets injured, Adrian Peterson or Damian Williams every single week. So like even if you load up on running backs early, it just based on all these drafts that we've been doing, it just looks like the much better option than taking a bunch of receivers. Like 0 RB for this year at least, it does not seem that viable. Maybe it'll become viable depending on ADPs.
It probably won't. Like you're gonna need to get some of these guys in these first 2 rounds, because the odds that like I don't know, Sony Michel, Lindsey, Darrell Henderson, these guys going in like the 7th, 8th round, the odds that they jump without like major injuries into this tier is pretty low. And you're going to get by with the wide receivers in that range much more than you will trying to start. Like if I'm starting Zeke and Drake and you're starting like Carson and Damian Williams, like I have such a leg up on you that it doesn't even matter what your wide receivers are.
Yeah, and at that point, you're trying to leverage a good wide receiver week 1, 2, or 3 and hope for a trade at that point when you could have just drafted the player in, I don't know, David Johnson, Jonathan Taylor in your 4th round instead of T.Y. Hilton or what are these guys? Robert Woods. Actually, I think Robert Woods is a good pick, but like T.Y. Hilton, Sutton, those types of names.
Yeah, but he doesn't need – when's he going to use Sutton? You know, like when are you ever going to start him on this team?
Exactly.
So, all right, I think that's going to do it. I like our teams. I think it was helpful going over 2 different people's strategy from 2 different spots, like going early and going late. We weren't like cannibalizing each other's picks at the same spot. So I think it went good.
It's crazy how close, like, I mean, there's different rounds where I take a receiver, you take a running back, but the general strategy of the early running backs, that 9th, 10th round for the tight end and quarterback late rounds, and then loading up on upside, it's very like clear, like what the optimal, at least from like people who are plugged into the industry, like there's an optimal strategy right now. And if you take that strategy against just your basic league mates, basic people you're playing against in whatever leagues online, like you should be a leg up on them.
Absolutely.